Asa Di Vaar really is a phenomenal and extraordinary Gurbani. What the Guru gives us an opportunity to do here is to highlight in a very, very unique way what the entire journey of Sikhi is all about. Gurbani here gives you not only the wisdom but the opportunity to transform yourself. And really the whole of the point of Sikhi, the point of being a Sikh, the point of bowing your head to the Guru is really to ask for transformation, to change what you are. And here Guruji starts right at the beginning with the idea that transformation of mankind is what is available to you right now. It starts with Balhari Gur Apne Deohari Sadwar. I bow down to the Guru thousands of times a day. Jin Manaste Devte Kiye. Because the Guru allows me to change from being just an ordinary human being to an extraordinary superhuman being. And the word used here is Devta. Janamanaste Devte Kiye, the one who transforms ordinary humans, Manas, into Devte. Look at the statement being made by Guru Nanak Dev Ji at that time. Look at the world that Guruji was in. A world where predominantly the way that this oneness, God, whatever you'd like to call it, was worshipped was through the Devte. And we have to understand this idea of what a Devta really is. In India, there are hundreds, if not millions, of Devte. So every single way in which God could be worshipped was given an individual form. So for example, the sun or the power of the sun could be called a Devta. The power of the moon, the power of creation, the power of destruction. Anything that God does, it was given a form. And the idea was that if you wanted to have something good in your life, you found the right Devta and you go and you worship them. Now this is not something for us to scoff at. It's very easy for us in today's modern world to look and think, oh, Sikhs are so advanced, we only believe in one God, and look how primitive they were. But there's beauty in even the older systems that have existed. Guru Nanak Dev Ji simply gave us an updated message. The system was fine. They were saying to ordinary folks, go out there, worship God in any way. Worship God as water, as rain, as sun, as moon, as all sorts of things. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji comes along and he says, I bow down to something that is Gur Jaisa Nahi Ko Dev. He says, I found a Devta which seems to be unparalleled. I found a Devta that makes me into a Devta. I found something that not just is worthy of worship, that actually transforms me into a Devta. So what we mean by a Devta is that Devta is not just one of those colorful looking gods with many arms. A Devta is a function of the universe. Devta is a function of God. And what Guru Nanak Dev Ji says is that I have found something that makes me into a Devta, which means I also become a function of God. So the sun is something that God does. I hope you're following me. Creation is something that God does. Destruction is something that God does. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying, I have become something that God does. I no longer am myself, I am now fully given to this power, that the power is now working through me. And we see this as one of the final stages of spiritual transformation in Japji Sahib when Guruji talks about the khands. One of the final stages is Karam Khand Ki Bani Jor. In Karam Khand, out of the 4 stages, Taram Khand, Gyan Khand, Saram Khand and Karam Khand. In Karam Khand, Guruji says that in this stage, the assets, the way that you understand that this stage has been received is that it is Jor now. Now the power of God is flowing through me. Tithe hor na koi hor. Now there's no me left, there's only God working. So here in Asa Di Vaar, we should be under no delusion. This is what Guruji wants from us. To transform us from ordinary human beings to extraordinary functions of God. That we are no longer going to be ourselves. And this same idea continues all the way through. Even Guru Gobind Singh Ji in Sri Sarablo Granth says, Atam ras je jaan hi, so hai khalas dev. One who has known that divine spirit within them, they are known as the Khalsa Devta. Khalsa is also a Dev. Yeah? Janamanas te Devte ki hai. Prab mein moh mein taas mein ranchak nahi na pe. Between God, me, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, between me, Guru Gobind Singh Ji and this person, there is no difference. You are expected in this school of the Guru to become God. And make no mistakes about it. You're not just here to worship God. You're here to lose yourself into God. So, how is this going to happen? How do we go from plain old me, simple old me, the one that feels like this individual? What needs to change? But more importantly, what is going to be your motivation to change? You can't just understand this wisdom. You have to figure out, why am I going to go on this journey? Am I willing to go that far? Maybe it sounds too much. And the way to answer that question is a very simple one. You have to ask yourself, am I having the most perfect experience of life that is possible for a human being? Am I having the most perfect experience? Because if the answer is no, then the Guru is available to you. If you wake up every morning and life doesn't feel like it's the best, every single moment is absolute euphoria and bliss, then the Guru is saying, come to me. I can show you that, I can give it to you. So really what you have to ask yourself is this something I want in my life? There has to be that first step that you have to take. Charan Sharan Guru Ek Panda Jai. We hear all these lines, but we need to now know, how do we put them all together? By Gurudas Ji saying, take your first step and Guru will take millions of steps. So, when we talk about things like this, then sometimes we think, well, it sounds almost unachievable, unrealistic. But again, going back to Japji Sahib, Guru Nanak Dev Ji confirms that there are people like this in the world. And they're called the Bhagats, the saints. And in Japji Sahib, in the Suniya verses, we hear, Nanak Bhagata Sada Vigas. Guru Nanak Dev Ji confirms that there are people like this who are always blissful, always in Anand. Is that something that you are interested in? Because if you're not, we need to just be honest with ourselves, get up and leave. If you're not interested in bliss, if you're happy with your everyday mind, if you're happy with the noise of your mind, if you're happy waking up in the morning and just feeling quite plain and ordinary, this is not for you. If you reach the point where you say, I no longer accept this mind as my everyday reality, I think there's something available to me, and I believe my Guru has the ability to give that to me. So you have to ask yourself, what is my motivation? Then you'll be able to go and look at what is the Guru's technology for delivering this. What is Guru's solution? How is this going to happen? How are we going to change? First, we have to understand there is a change possible. Second, we have to understand that we need to have the motivation. And the motivation, it's like, sometimes you hear about these people with addiction problems. They say the first solution to being cured of your addiction is to admit that you have a problem. And we all have an addiction to our mind, our sense of self. This idea that I quite like myself, I'm okay, I'm not a bad person, I'll just come matha take and I don't really have to do much. I'll make myself feel good that I'm a nice guy and that I do some Sikh things so I can pretend to be a good Sikh. Guruji doesn't want you to pretend. Guruji wants you to transform. So how are you going to transform? The first word is the most important word, balahari. Surrender. You have to give something up. If you are not happy with the status quo, if you're not happy with how your life is, if you think that my mind could be better, if you think that life could feel better than it currently does in the day-to-day mundane experience of life, you have to give something up. You have to give up the sense of me. I am. Haumai. I am something of value. The amazing thing about Asa Di Vaar is that it goes straight into delivering this technique for you. And the very first verses start to change your thinking. So how do we change our thinking? We spend all of our day thinking about me. I call this me thinking. We're stuck in me thinking. I need to do this, I need to do that. I need to get up and I need to do this and I need to drop my kids to school and I need to get ready for work and I need to cook some dinner. We're stuck in this me thinking. Guruji, and the whole point of Asa Di Vaar doing it in the morning, is you transform your me thinking into you thinking. This is all you. And Guruji, one verse after another, just forces you to start doing that in a most beautiful way. And so we see that right at the beginning, in the very first section of these sloks, Sache tere khand, Sache Brahman, Sache tere lo, Sache Akar. You start going into almost a trance. This is yours and this is yours. Vadi vadiyai. Then the next one is all this Vadi vadiyai, Ja vada now, Vadi vadiyai, Ja sach now. This is your name, this is your greatness, this is your everything. Everything is you, this is also you. And then Guruji goes into Vismad. Vismad Nad, Vismad Ved, Vismad Ji, Vismad Ped. Do you see how Guruji is using the same word to go into a trance? The point of going into the trance is Guru is forcing your mind to stop this me thinking. Meh. I say that we're actually meditating all day. Every single human being is meditating 24 hours a day, but we're meditating on me, meh. And Guruji wants you to stop that line of thinking. Why Asa Di Vaar is done in the morning is that it starts your morning in this way of thinking. Look at these beautiful words. Vismad paun, Vismad pani, Vismad agni khede vidani. Look at this beauty. And you're going outside in this beautiful nature and you're supposed to look around at everything and you just go into this euphoria. So I really encourage you to take time to read a little bit of this Asa Di Vaar and get into it. Kudrat disse, Kudrat suniye, Kudrat pao suksar. Look outside and go into this utter bliss. Guruji is forcing bliss into your mind so that you're no longer stuck in this ordinary, just normal feeling of me. Kudrat is this beautiful, I see you in your Kudrat. And Guruji is not just asking you to think about some God, some concept of God. Guruji is saying, go look outside. I'm right here. I'm right here in all of this beauty. Apine aap sajiyo, apine rachiyo. You've done it all. You've created everything. And then Guruji goes on. These words are so easy to just lose yourself in, because that's exactly what Guru wants you to do. Guru wants you to lose yourself. Pair vich pavan vahe sadvao, pair vich chale lakh daryao. You go into this trance because you realize that everything is working under the magic of the universe. And so towards the end of the first 8 sections of Asa Di Vaar, Guruji now introduces, this is now what we're trying to deal with. Haumai dirag roga hai, daru bhi ismai. Guruji first introduces the method that you need to surrender, let go of yourself, go into this trance of just praise. And then Guruji, this section, starts to introduce, now you will see that there is a resistance. There's a part of your mind that says, I don't want to do this anymore. This feels like letting go too much. And Guruji now says, right, this is called Haumai. This little bit of me that says, I want to hold on to me, Guruji says that is the ultimate disease. But now that you can see it, before you couldn't even see it. In Naam Simran, you go into such a trance that you can start to see there's something that doesn't want to let go. Guruji says, now that we can see it, there is a solution. Seeing it is the solution. Being aware of it is the solution. That's why it's the Daru. And how are you going to get rid of it? Gur ka Shabad. The Guru's message, the Guru's wisdom is going to break that sense of man.